Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode of the Vibrate Higher podcast. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. I was inspired to record this episode because as I grow and become the version of myself that lives the exact life that she wants, I have to overcome self-sabotage. And if you would have asked me about self-sabotage a month ago, I would have told you that I doubt myself way more than I self-sabotage. But I have learned over the past few weeks that that's actually not true. So we are going to explore the concept of self-sabotage in detail and how it may show up in your life so that you can not only spot it like I had to, but you can also overcome it. So let's dive right in. First, let's talk definitions. Self-sabotage and self-doubt can sometimes get lumped together, but they are two different things. Self-doubt is a state of mind. It's a state of mind where you question your worth or your abilities, which I think as humans, all of us do at some point in our life, in our month, in our week, in our day, we question our abilities. Self-sabotage is a behavior pattern. This is where you knowingly or unknowingly undermine your success through your actions. So self-doubt sounds like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? Self-sabotage looks like procrastination, perfectionism, like going out the night before you know you have a big presentation at work and getting completely lit so that you wake up with a hangover and now you're groggy and you're not in your best shape and best self to present and do this big thing that you've got to do in the office. That is what self-sabotage looks like. I think that a lot of times, if you're not aware, people think self-doubt and self-sabotage, you really don't know the difference. You really may think that they're one and the same, and they are not. And so I think step one is really understanding the difference between the two so that you can differentiate which one you've got going on at whatever time that it's going on. Self-sabotage is a sneaky little bee because it can be so ingrained in our subconscious and so subtle that we don't even notice that it's an issue. Self-sabotage looks like you intentionally or not intentionally aligning your reality with your core beliefs. It helps me to refer to self-sabotage as looking for the back door. And what I mean by that is, have you ever found yourself in a situation like, let's say you want a promotion at your job and you find yourself in a scenario where you are able to, on a social level, interact with maybe the CEO of your company or the person that you'd be reporting to or the people you'd be working with, maybe at like a holiday function or a lunch or something where you have the opportunity to socialize with them beyond work. Everything in you knows that you want this promotion. You know that this is a great opportunity for them to be able to get to know you and, you get to know them. But everything in you is like, oh my gosh, I can't, I'm so uncomfortable. What are they going to think about me? What am I going to say? What if I look stupid? And it's almost as if you walked into that room with them and they hadn't turned around to see you yet, and there was a back door that was right on the side of you, you literally would slither yourself quietly to that door, open it, and slide through it and gently shut it back. That is how I picture self-sabotage, is you're looking for that back door to get you out of a situation or a circumstance that you know is in line with what you desire and you know that it could help or benefit you, but you are so uncomfortable because you have a belief that doesn't match that desire. And it is so much easier for you to just dart out or look for the back door. Here's an example of how I have self-sabotaged myself in the past. So I have a few core beliefs that I have really worked on. There was a belief of not being good enough and a fear of failure. I had already created Zenergy, created the logo, and a lot of other things well before I actually made the shift to start doing it full time. But when I made the shift to start doing it full time, there was a period of time where I really needed to, air quote, launch it to the public, to my social media followers, to my friends, my family, whoever, and noticed that I continued to delay that launch. I didn't realize that I was finding things to delay me actually having to launch this. I would tell myself, I need more social media posts up before I can actually announce. Like, it was constantly me spending excessive time going over things that I had already done, or researching to make sure everything was, air quote, perfect before I actually just launched it. And that was self-sabotage, but I didn't realize it. At the time, I was thinking to myself, well, I need to be researching trends. And if my website needs tweaking, I should be tweaking it. That's what I would tell myself. But the reality of it is I had already done that legwork. That website was fine. I didn't need to tweak it. I had already taken time and created it. It was my subconscious mind aligning my beliefs of I'm not good enough, my fear of what if I fail and prove that I'm not good enough, or what if I succeed and I can't handle the responsibility of success because I'm not good enough. I want to talk about some of the common reasons we self-sabotage. Now, as always, there are tons of reasons. These are just common, and I'm giving them because I'm hoping that you can see yourself in these so that you can then acknowledge it and pivot. So fear is a common one. Fear of success, like we just talked about in that example, or fear of failure and the consequences that come with it. Fear will keep you self-sabotaging. Low self-esteem is a second reason why we self-sabotage. So low self-esteem is feeling like you aren't good at anything. That's different than feeling like you aren't good enough. This is, I feel like I'm not good at anything. Everything I do never works out. If you have low self-esteem, you will find yourself self-sabotaging, because if your core belief is that you are not good at anything, then when you go to try things, your subconscious mind is going to align your action with what you believe. So you'll start stuff, you won't finish it. You talk yourself out of it because you don't think you're going to succeed with it. Third reason why we self-sabotage, fear of the unknown. Now, I know this one may sound a little weird, but you'd be surprised how many people deal with it. When you fear the unknown, you will self-sabotage because a lot of times what is familiar to us is safe. Even if that hurts, or even if that space is uncomfortable, it is familiar, and that is where we feel secure. So you would rather stay in a familiar space and be uncomfortable than venture out to something new. So you start self-sabotaging, you knowingly or unknowingly pull yourself back from whatever it is because it's unknown, it's new, it's different, it's changed. It's just like, oh, I'd rather stay here miserable at this job because I'm scared to take the risk to move on to something where I can grow more or move up. If you're scared of change and scared of the unknown, you will start to find yourself self-sabotaging when new opportunities come, when new ideas come. The idea feels good for a second, but then immediately you start talking yourself out of it. The fourth reason why we self-sabotage is worthiness or fearing that you're not good enough. Don't confuse that with low self-esteem, feeling like you're not good at anything. That's different. Worthiness is not feeling you deserve something deep down, so you pull away when you're close to achieving something big, or you're close to falling in love, or you're close to being vulnerable. Whatever that is, you start to pull yourself back. And so what are you doing? You're aligning your actions with that core belief of, I'm not worthy. So here are some signs that you may be self-sabotaging. Procrastination. I think that so many of us deal with it. The next time that you find yourself procrastinating on whatever, ask yourself, is this me looking for the back door? And when you start to do that, then you're kind of creating space between you and the procrastination, and you can make different choices. You can push through it. Another sign you may be self-sabotaging is negative self-talk. Here's an example of that. So you decide that you're going to work out more. You know, it's the new year. You're like, you know what? I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to go 3, 4, 5 times a week, whatever the goal is. And you buy 1 or 2 little new things to wear to the gym. And let's say you're doing like group fitness. You get to the class and everyone in there is fit. They look good in their clothes. They've got a 6-pack or, they just look good. And you're like, oh, you're looking at yourself and all the negative self-talk comes in. You're being overcritical of yourself. You're looking at your thighs, your arms, your flab on your belly, whatever it is. And then you start talking yourself out of going to the gym. So now it's the next day and you're getting ready to go again. And it's like, I don't want to go in there. All those people look like this and I'm tired and I'm so sore from yesterday and I'll just give myself a break. And that starts you on self-sabotage. The third sign that you may be self-sabotaging is perfectionism. Perfectionism can look a lot like procrastination, where you're delaying things because you are trying to make sure that it's perfect. And again, it's rooted in some sort of belief. Whatever it is, that self-sabotage is going to make sure that you align your actions with that core belief. So if you have a fear of putting something out and failing, and so you find yourself wanting to continue to tweak and tweak and tweak and go over and make this perfect, and you changed the font 5 times before you actually want to put the post out on Instagram, ask yourself, is this me looking for the back door? If the answer is yes, push through, post it anyway. Get up, go to the gym anyway. So how do we stop self-sabotaging? You stop self-sabotaging by moving into alignment with your soul. When you are in alignment with your soul, with the core of who you are, not the limiting beliefs, not your core beliefs, the core of who you are. When you do this, you are existing, you are taking action, and you are showing up from a place of wholeness. And from there, there's just no room for self-sabotage. It's a totally different frequency. So how do you get there? A few ways. I'm going to give you 4 things that I have personally used that have made a tremendous difference. So the first one is core belief work. Remember I said earlier, self-sabotage is your subconscious mind aligning your actions with your beliefs. So it's not aligning your actions with what you want or what you desire. It's aligning your actions with what you actually believe at your core. So if you want to loosen that self-sabotaging grip, then you need to work on your actual core beliefs that are not serving you. I did an entire podcast episode on overcoming limiting beliefs. Go back, listen to that episode. I give you techniques on how to actually attack your limiting beliefs at the root and how to move forward. So I would refer back to that episode for details. Item number 2 is expanding yourself. The reason why expanding yourself is related to self-sabotage is because you're looking for the back door because your internal belief system doesn't have the capacity to hold the version of you that can be comfortable in that room where you want the promotion and you're walking in and there's a CEO. Your nervous system can't even handle that because it doesn't have the capacity. It's too filled with fear, with unworthiness, with scarcity. So when you actually expand yourself, you free up space to realize that bigger and better version of you that's already there. You just need to create the space for it. And so when I say expand yourself, it's things like belief work, but it's also things like your meditations, your gratitude reels, your affirmations, all of those things that shift you into a growth mindset and change your perspective. So number 1, core belief work. 2, expand yourself. The third way to stop self-sabotaging is monitor your negative self-talk. We all say negative things to ourselves all the time. We affirm negative things about ourselves. I'm not good enough. I'm too fat. I'm lazy. I'm broke. No one's going to care what I have to say. When you are trying to uproot self-sabotage, you have to be cognizant of what you are saying to yourself, because a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. And so if you keep thinking that you're not good enough, you keep reaffirming that, you keep feeding the core belief. The fourth way to stop self-sabotage is implement a daily habit that grounds you to yourself. So in a case of being a procrastinator, if you know that, implement a daily habit where you do a check-in with yourself and you ask yourself, like, how did I move my business forward today? Or how did I move this project forward I'm working to at work? How did I move this forward today? That daily habit of checking in with yourself, it counteracts that self-sabotage because you are consistently focused on pushing through that and moving yourself forward. And when you first start, the answer may be no. But every single day, if you're asking yourself that and you truly have a desire to expand and get better, then you'll start taking more action because you're going to be like, gosh, I said no like the last 3 days. Then I'm sitting here watching Netflix. Let me get up and go to the gym. So the 4 steps are core belief work, expanding yourself, monitoring your negative self-talk, and then implementing a daily habit. So those are my tips on how to stop self-sabotaging. Letting go of self-sabotage is feasible. It's truly about devotion. You have to be devoted to the process and consistent. These things that I outlined today and the tips that I gave, they don't cost you anything but time. There are so many things that we do consistently every day. We scroll on social media every day. We make time to scroll through TikTok and Instagram. We make time to watch YouTube. You make time to watch sports. You make time to read the news. You make time to watch shows on TV. If you can make time to do those things every single day without fail, you can make time to implement a new daily habit that you do for 5 or 10 minutes. It's about devotion. How much better do you want your life to be? Do you want yourself to be? And if it's what I think it is, because you're listening to this podcast, then you can absolutely devote yourself to that process the same way you devote yourself to all the other things that may or may not even be serving you. that you do on a daily basis. So I want you to ask yourself, where are you self-sabotaging in your life? What sticks out to you? You can absolutely stop doing it if you truly are devoted to the self-work. So that is all that I have for you today. I hope that you found this episode helpful. Thank you to everyone who continually is sending me text messages. I'm getting them. I'm reading them. I want you to do the same with this. Let me know how this episode did. Let me know if you found it helpful. Please continue to send me text messages. Send me some things that you're struggling with. Maybe I will be able to compare across the board and do an episode on something that you need help with, or that the majority of you need help with. Send that text to me. Let me know. I will talk to you all soon, and I wish you love and light.